a lot of people, a lot of liberals, a lot of blue Dems would have you believe that Biden is, a hero and Trump is a monster. Well, let's be clear. Trump is a monster. So is Biden. Nowhere near as much of a monster, but he's still a monster. And you know how we know he's a monster? Well, maybe you wouldn't know if it weren't for Status Coup, because it's really not being covered like it would be under Trump. This is what's happening at the border of Haitians who are trying to get into the United States. So that's Border Patrol, literally. Oh, God. Is this 400 years ago? What's happening? Like, this is America under Biden? What? This is insane. Now, Colin, if you can pull up the Black House News video that they posted of this.
We're having a hard time. Our family sends us money, but we can't eat. We have children, but don't have diapers. Look, now I have to cross to the Mexican side with wet money to be able to buy things for the child, and we have nothing. We're unable to eat. I need help with everything that's happening to us over there because there are a lot of children, and they're only removing the single parents, and the children are left alone. Just imagine.
God, and liberals don't care. Bidenites, Hillary stands don't care because this is not happening under Trump. Or maybe they would care if they saw it, but the media doesn't care to show it if it's not Trump doing this. Like, can you imagine the hashtags and the outrage from the resistance Twitter accounts if this footage were gotten under Trump? I mean, God, man. So let's go through the Washington Post piece, Colin. The hypocrisy is simply astounding. Simply astounding. Washington Post by Felicia Sonmez. White House Homeland Security Chair denounced horrific mistreatment of Haitian migrants by Border Patrol officers. The White House, and hold on one second. My copy has a pop-up of it. The White House and the chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee on Monday voiced concern over photos and reports appearing to show, it does show, U.S. Border Patrol officers on horseback mistreating Haitian immigrants near the Rio Grande, calling the images horrific. Their statements came one day after the Biden administration began deporting people from the makeshift camp where nearly 14,000 migrants have gathered beneath a South Texas bridge. One photo by photojournalist Paul Ratney shows a Border Patrol officer on horseback grabbing the shirt of a Haitian migrant holding bags of food and trying to enter an encampment near the river. Other footage shows mounted Border Patrol officers chasing migrants away. One of the officers can be seen swinging at one of the migrants with what appears to be a strap connected to the horse's bridle. This is what your country's expletive because you use your women for this. Another of the officers can be heard saying to the migrants, according to footage published by Al Jazeera English. Representative Benny G. Thompson, chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, denounced the officers' behavior in a statement Monday. Video and photos coming out of Del Rio showing U.S. Border Patrol's mistreatment of Haitian migrants along the border are horrific and disturbing, Thompson said. This mistreatment runs counter to our American values and cannot be tolerated. Does it run counter to our American values, or is this exactly what our American values are? He called on Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas to take immediate action to hold those responsible accountable and ensure that all migrants are treated in accordance with the law and basic decency, as this administration has promised to do since day one. It rises from the top, guys. It rises from the top. During a press availability in Del Rio, Texas, Monday, Mayorkas was asked whether the images showed inhumane treatments by the Border Patrol officers. Mayorkas responded that reporters are assuming facts that have not yet been determined. It's pretty easy to determine facts when you have footage and photographs. He added that Border Patrol officers sometimes use long reins to ensure control of the horse. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that Black Haitian men and women and children are horses. This is absurd. And that we are going to investigate the facts to ensure that the situation is as we understand it to be. BS. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz said he believed it was likely the officers were trying to control the horses so that no migrants would get injured as they were trekking across the river, and that any actions they took were in the name of security. I mean, are you kidding me? This is absurd. People cannot stand for this. And as we witnessed in some of the videos and pictures, the migrants were going back and forth, Ortiz said. We do not know who are the smugglers and who are the migrants. So it is important that these Border Patrol agents maintain a level of security for the migrants and for themselves. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki fielded several questions about the images during Monday's news briefing. Psaki described the footage she has seen as horrific, but said she is seeking more context and information on the events that took place. I have seen some of the footage, Psaki told reporters. I don't have the full context. Oh my God. I can't imagine. Well, let's take a look at our actions in Haiti for some more context. How about that, Jen Psaki? Let's circle back to that. I can't imagine what context would make that appropriate, but I don't have additional details. I don't think anyone seeing that footage would think it's acceptable or appropriate. Asked whether she believes action should be taken against the officers involved, Psaki responded, of course, they should never be able to do it again. My God. Oh my God. I don't know what the circumstances would be. It is obviously horrific, the footage. I don't have any more information on it. Deteriorating social and economic conditions in recent years in Haiti worsened recently. I don't know why they put that word in there, by the pandemic, have become too hostile to bear for some migrants. Yeah, Felicia Sanmez, why don't you say why conditions have worsened in Haiti in recent years? Prompting them to join a persistent exodus to the northern half of the Americas. While it's not clear how or why thousands of specifically French, Creole, and Spanish-speaking Haitians converged simultaneously at one isolated outpost on the U.S.-Mexico border, what is clear is that many of their migration stories began long ago. Theirs is an unending tale of displacement, discrimination, and deportation that many had hoped would end in Del Rio, Texas, and lead to a permanent home. Oh my. I cannot even begin to explain how furious I am about the framing of that Washington Post article. First of all, absurd. And the fact that the official statements are what they are, and that reporters are just like, okay, cool. Let's just report this like it is. Yeah, obviously as journalists, we have to say what the comments were, but we also have to say what reality is. Haiti didn't magically start having problems on its own. It's not magic. It's us. It's us. And now here we are whipping Haitians, women, Black women and children and men for trying to live. That's it. For trying to live. We're disgusting. Biden's disgusting. He needs to take responsibility for this. He wanted to be president. Well, here you are. You're President Biden. What are you going to do now? Biden is like, it's insane to me, the so-called progressives who are saying that Biden is worse than Trump. Like, that's just literally crazy and nonsensical. That doesn't mean that Biden is good. Clearly he's not. Look at this. Look at what's happening under his watch. He needs to be held accountable. And I hope Resistance Twitter wakes up and starts doing it and starts helping to hold him accountable. I cannot. Like, this country is such a disaster. Our COVID response is a disaster. Our treatment of migrants is a disaster. Our policing is a disaster. It's easy to see why people are getting so discouraged and why there are such mental health issues lately. Increasingly. It's really devastating and hard.